Hello, and welcome to All About All Block, exploring the additional language and literacy component of the 3-5 EL education curriculum. My name is Jackie Morrissey, and I work with the Office of Curriculum and Instruction. I'm super excited to be here with you today. As you all know, we began with these 3 objectives last time we were together. So this is a 3-part series. In our first part of the series, which we covered the last time, we looked at gaining a deep understanding of the 5 components of the all block. We talked about those 5 different rotations, and we went into specific detail as to what each one of those rotations entailed, and also the research and the studies, the efficacious studies that have gone along with those different components of all block, so that we know just the research, the solid research that it's built on. Today, we're going to be examining the key features of an all block lesson. I'm excited about that. And then the next time that we are together, we are going to be preparing to put together plans for ourselves so that we can be prepared to engage our students with an all block lesson. But again, today we're going to be examining some key features that are in place to make an all block lesson be exactly what it's supposed to be. So let's take a look. As you recall, if we were to walk into any classroom here in SDP and we were observing an all block lesson, we should see some type of formation that is similar to what you see on the screen in front of you. There should be 3 rotations that are set up. There should be that teacher-led group that is composed of the teacher and a small select handful of students that are working on the same levels, the same abilities. There are differentiated materials that are in place for these particular groups of this particular group of students, so that the teacher can adequately meet their learning needs. The other 2 groups, however, are heterogeneously grouped, which means that there are different ability levels. You might have English language learners working with students that are some of your advanced students, or maybe some of your students that are on grade level, or some of your students that might be slightly below grade level. So there are different types of setups for these different groupings, and that's totally fine, because in these 2 groups, the students are either working on accountable independent reading, which is going to be, again, research-based or free choice, or they're working on their independent task card, which might be some additional work with word study. They might be writing a prompt that they started writing. They might be building on that from what they started in the module lesson. So there are different things that they might be doing in that independent activity, and there's usually a task card that goes along with that to guide their instruction. So in the classroom that we're going to be visiting today, we are going to be visiting Hancock Elementary. We're going to be looking at Miss Christina Orff's class of students, 3rd grade students. So as we are taking a deep dive into this classroom, I want you to be thinking about the questions that you see on the screen in front of you. I want you to think about this teacher-led group, which is really where the camera is really going to be honed in for most of the time that we're watching this video. I also want you to think about what is happening in these 2 external groups, the independent groups that are working, what's going on with them, and how is it that they are working so well together. And then just completely and totally, I want you to be thinking about the key features that are in place in Miss Orff's classroom that make this all block lesson successful. Let's take a look.
Can I have the diamond group come back first? Diamond back first, please. Okay. All right, so we have independent reading over here. We have the student task card over there. So you have the 2 to choose from. You may work at either station, but you are working the whole entire time. Listen, if you are at the independent reading, you are researching classic literature, okay? So go ahead, you can pick which card to go to. We will be doing all 3 today. All right, first things first, you are going to get a paper and you're going to put your name at the top of the paper. You're welcome. When you're done, flip to the back. You're going to get a highlighter. Can you please highlight the 3 skills that we will be looking at today. So I highlight them for you first. So it's I can read at the speed that is appropriate for the piece. So the third one down. And then you're going to do the one right underneath of it. I can read smoothly without many breaks. And then skip the next one and do the next one underneath. I can notice and read punctuation. So those are going to be the 3 skills that we are going to be assessing ourselves on today. All right, so you are the diamond group. So we are going to be on this side. So this is the passage that we are going to be reading today. So let's look at your task card. So flip this back over. All right, so today's task card, we are doing reading and speaking fluency. So we are going to be evaluating your own fluency strengths to set a fluency goal. So we are going to need your fluency passage, your checklist, which is right here. Here's your checklist. And then we are going to look here at the Fluent Readers Do These Things anchor chart. So remember, fluent readers, you read smooth. You correct mistakes, you use appropriate volume, you use appropriate pace, you pause at commas, you stop at periods, and you change your voice and volume depending on the meaning. So for example, when we read, we don't want to read a long, long time ago there was a big, like that's not fluent, right? It should be a long time ago there was a very big crab. You see how my voice is kind of going up and down? I paused at that comma, so we are stopping there. So we're going to be practicing our fluency today. So where it says directions, so put your finger on directions on your task card. Reading fluency, to read without sounding out every word and reading smoothly in the way that the author meant for it to sound. So the first thing that you are going to do is self-assess where you are with each of the highlighted criteria on your checklist by placing a check mark in the appropriate column. So you are going to read this passage quietly to yourself first. So take a moment and read it quietly to yourself. Can you start at the beginning just so I can hear you?
A long time ago, there was a big crab which crawled into the sea, and when he went in, he crowded the water out so that it ran all over the earth and covered all the land.
Sorry, you can stop right there. Can you read just a little bit for me?
A long time ago, there was a very big crab which crawled into the sea, and when it went in, he crowded the water out so that it went all over the earth and covered all the land. Now about 1 minute before this.
Thank you. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is you're going to flip over your task card to your checklist. Remember, you are going to read the highlighted skills, and then you are going to self-assess yourself. Are you advanced? Are you like, I got it, I can do it? Proficient is doing it well. Developing, you're getting there. Or beginning, you still need help. So read those 3 to yourself and self-assess. So you're going to put a check mark. Yep, you can start with your pencil. You're self-assessing. Be honest with yourselves, okay? Okay. So you put that you're developing there. So when you get to like a comma, you just want to pause and take a breath. And then when you get to a period, you want to stop. Okay, that's what help you with that one. Good job. Good job being honest with yourself. So same thing. So you think that you need help with stopping and punctuation. So like if it's an exclamation point, how should your voice be? It should be loud because you're exclaiming, right? If you come across a period, what should you do? Stop. How about a comma?
Just take a breath.
Yeah, you take a breath. Good. Very good. You can whisper read it too. If it helps you whisper read.
A long and the rest with a long round. These very bound tightly together, and each was done. Isolated the rest with a large bar.
All right, friends, if you are like me, there were so many great things that you saw in that video that were just right teaching when it comes to that all block implementation. So let's talk about some of the few things that we saw that were key features that made this all block lesson work so smoothly and work so well. So a couple of things, and I know that you all have got all of these things written down and maybe even more. But a couple of things that I wanted to make sure that we all were aligned on is that Ms. Orth gave explicit directions in the very beginning. Nobody moved before she told everybody what was going on in the different groups. And then she called the diamonds over to her. So that made the transition of the students move so much more smoothly. If we can make sure that students understand and make sure that they know how to move, then that's going to help make sure that there's not a lot of lost time in our all block sessions, in our all block lessons. Another thing that I wanted to point out are the charts that she had in place. You know, there was a chart for how the students were grouped. She had the diamond, she had the square, she had the circles, and she had the names that were written underneath them. And they were very prominently displayed in the room. So if anybody needed to know where they needed to go or when they were going to be with the teacher, it was already displayed in the classroom. Not only that, but Miss Orth made sure that she had all of the materials in place. So the student workbooks were already in place. The teacher guide was already in place. The anchor chart behind her that talked about what fluent reading looked like was already there. And all she had to do was point to that. There was choice in the very beginning, you know, and that's what our intermediate students need. She said, you know, figure out where you want to go first, but they had a choice as to what they were going to do. And you saw the students kind of thinking about that. Those wheels were spinning in their brains about what they wanted to do first. And then last but certainly not least, the timer. The timer was a huge asset because she had it set for 20 minutes. She could see it, the students could see it, and it was a great way to help not only her, but also the students keep up with their pacing. So if these are some things that you have not put in place for your all block lesson, I strongly, strongly, strongly urge you to get these elements, these features in place, because they're going to make your all block lessons run 1000% better. All right, friends, for this All About All Block series, we have already covered part 1, which was the 5 components of an all block lesson. Today, we covered part 2, which was looking at some key features of an all block lesson. We had an opportunity to go inside a classroom and look at an all block lesson in action. And then the next time that we get together, we are going to be putting together some plans and some processes so that we can make sure that our all block implementation is absolutely #phenomenal, all that it can be for our students here at SDP. All right, friends, it is time for us to go. But before we do, I wanted to make sure that if you have any follow-up questions or any comments about this All About All Block series, please feel free to reach out to me or anybody from our team at ela@philasd.org. Thank you.